Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I just got out of Brandon Carter's event here called the Renegade Summit, and it was pretty cool. You can probably check out by the time that by the time this video comes out, the interview I did with Brandon Carter right here, where we talked about books of all things, not fitness. We talked about books. But anyway, I wanted to tell you about my experience there, which was pretty awesome, pretty crazy that for $97 he put this on and had some really good speakers. But I want to tell you about one of the main things that I got out of the event, like sort of an idea that I thought was something that kind of stuck with me, which actually his older brother had spoken about, which he gave the acronym P.A.Y, and what it stands for is prioritize according to yield. And I thought this was a really cool concept, and I'm actually going to apply this because, you know, it's a good way to sort out when you've got a whole lot of things, right? And I've sort of been doing this naturally. I didn't have a good name for this, but essentially, like, when you've got a lot of things that you can do, you should prioritize them according to yield. And it seems like a very common sense thing, right? I mean, obviously we're going to do the most important things first, but so many of us forget to do that, and sometimes I can fall into that. And so the way that I think about this is, you know, what will require the least amount of resources, the least amount of effort, but will produce the greatest result. And that's what it means to me to prioritize according to yield, because sometimes what we can do is we can prioritize things based on what will have the biggest effect or what we think is most important, but it's not the biggest bang for your buck, right? Prioritize according to yield to me means do the thing that's the biggest bang for your buck. And so, you know, it's just something that you want to think about in your life. Like, what are the things that you can do, especially when you got so many options, you got so many things that you want to do, especially if you're an entrepreneur or something like that. What are the things that you can do that are going to require, that they're going to have an uneven distribution for cost to benefit? You know what I mean by that? So, for example, at this event, I believe that, you know, one of the things that occurred to me was one of the speakers talked about an audio program that they have where it's like a morning routine. They have like a 30-minute audio program. I think they sell for somewhere around, you know, sub $50, right? But that's something that I was like, okay, I could probably put together a motivational audio program that I could sell for fairly cheap that would take me maybe like a day to produce, or less than a day, right? And it's a new product that I could sell, and it's going to have a high yield, right? Because who wouldn't want to buy that, right? I think a lot of you that watch these YouTube videos, it's obvious to me that you would probably want to buy an audio program. If I put together an audio program, like a 30-minute program that is just a motivational speech or motivational phrases to motivate you every day that you could listen to, you know, on a regular basis, you'd probably be willing to pay for that. And it's something that would not take me a lot of effort to do. It would produce a high value for you or for other people that would purchase this thing, and it would produce some decent income for Simple Programmer, like another product out there. So anyway, that's just an example of that, but there's a lot of options, a lot of ways that you can really prioritize according to yield. So I thought that was cool. It's a pretty cool acronym, P.A.Y, and it makes sense. And, you know, something I'm going to think about a lot more is where are these quick bang for bucks. And I've been really thinking about this lately. I've been producing some stuff. I've got some new courses that have come out. You know, so it's kind of crazy because sometimes a course could take 3 months, right? And sometimes a course could take like a couple of days. Same thing, you know, I think Grant Cardone said one of his most popular books that he ever wrote. By the way, if you don't know who Grant Cardone is, check out the YouTube, check out the review I did on his book 10X Rule. I also did one on his book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. He's just awesome. But anyway, I believe what he said is that one of his books that he wrote, that he sold millions of copies, he literally wrote it in 3 hours on an airplane trip. And, you know, some people say, oh, well, you know, something that was produced in a short amount of time can't be that valuable. That's not true. It was actually like 10 years in the making, if you think about it, right? And that's the same thing. It's like, if you have a lot of knowledge, you can possibly, and we all have knowledge in different areas, but let's say you're an expert in some area, you can possibly produce something in this short amount of time that's going to be a high yield type of thing that you're going to be able to make a lot of money on. So think about ways that you can find in your own life places where you can get that high yield for a very low cost. Anyway, I hope you like this video. I got to go in. We're going to have a dinner here that for the Renegade Summit, but it's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, click the subscribe button below. If you haven't already, you can subscribe. I do like 2 to 3 videos a day, even when I'm at a summit, even just sitting here in my car, just to make sure I get my video done for today, or my videos done for today. Anyway, I will talk to you next time. Take care.